So my biggest takeaways from the Euros. First, I'm not going to talk about the obvious. Yes, you need a great starting 11. Yes, you need to win the games. Yes, you need a ruthless and confident coach who can, you need to be able to handle adversity, all the things. You need to have some good luck on your side, obviously. But every team at that point has that. Like, if you're making it, honestly, into the group stage, but certainly into the semis and finals, every team has all of the main things. So it's like, what else do you have? What else do you have to have in order to win? I think back to like all my winning teams, all of the teams that have been successful. Aura, vibes, and inevitability is the first thing I want to talk about. England had all the vibes, all the aura. They're like walking in, like, we know that we're going to win. They had this like,
you mean they're walking
in
like everybody watches the Lionesses?
Everybody watches the Lionesses. Everybody wants to watch the Lionesses. Everybody's eyes on the Lionesses. When it's like when you win and when you lose and it doesn't matter and you're still the headline no matter what, you got the aura, you got the vibes, you got the confidence. It honestly reminds me of the U.S. teams. No matter what, it's like when the big dog is there, that's where everybody's eyes are. And I just felt like England had that external like bravado and like external confidence, but then also within the team, like you could see that they had that chemistry and they had the lightness and they had we know exactly who we are. I mean, they led for a whopping 4 minutes and 52 seconds. Probably half of that is like celebrations after the goals or extra time or whatever.
Oh, that includes
in the knockout rounds. And that includes, so they led for approximately 6 seconds for the entire knockout rounds. But you could just tell they had that belief. They always knew it was going to come. A question I heard a lot when we were there, but also before we even went, was like, when is England's luck gonna run out? I never felt like they were getting lucky. I always felt like they knew they weren't their best. They knew exactly who they were. They knew exactly who they were bringing off the bench and what they were supposed to do, and they did it. And it just felt like they had such a confidence no matter what to stay in the game, to defend, to like do whatever it took to win. And basically they just like stuck to their game plan. The responsibility was to winning. That was it. And that's like all they had to do. And so when it got to penalties, I was like, this is already like in the bag. They know exactly. They have like the mental fortitude.
It didn't start great. It started with an unprecedented triple touch. Triple touch. Well, that's what she.
Beth Mead
said. You stole the joke. You took the joke.
Go. Sorry.
No, it's over. So she started the first PK was like, I think a slip into a PK, to which the referee called it back for a double touch. And then the player joked afterwards, actually, I think he missed it. I think it was a triple touch.
No, literally.
So it's very funny.
It did a little banging around before it got there. Yeah. And then she missed.
But that put them down. Spain converted, and they're already, they kicked first, but now they're already down. So that's again coming from behind. They seem like, to your point, I think a lot of times when teams find ways to win, even when they're down, people are like, wow, you got lucky. And it's actually like, no, that is a mental fortitude that I would argue is a skill. And it comes sadly from having to experience being down a lot and having to find ways to win. But with each time that you find a way, you build like another muscle and another layer of confidence to never feeling like you're out of a game. And that to me showed up more than anything in the PKs. They're like, we know it's not over. It's never over. Not when you're playing
never
us.
Over. Right. Yeah. All right. So we started with the vibes, the aura, the whole thing. They had it. The next thing that you have to have in order to win is a bench. Have to have it. They have this thing. I was just today years old when I was learning about it, but they have this thing called positive clicks on the bench. And it was actually brought back, imported from America by MZ Morgan, who plays for the Washington Spirit. And it's just it's the snaps. Yeah, right. Pre-tariff. So she brought that back for free. It's all good. It's just snaps. And it's like giving someone props, obviously, for what they're doing. We all know what this is. And it just became like a little unspoken thing within the bench group of like, we see each other. The thing about the bench, like, you kind of need them to have their own like culture,
identity,
almost an identity. They need to feel, of course, like respected and valued, and like they're, you know, a part of the reason that they're winning. And sometimes it's difficult, obviously, with the starters. Every player on the bench wants to be the starting team. So you need to have like a holistic, good vibe between everyone. But then also the bench has to have like their own little separate secret thing outside of the starters, but not in opposition to. So they had this thing, and it just was a way for them to connect and for them to kind of like show what they were about, have a little swagginess, but also it was like all positivity. And then obviously you have Michelle Ajimong and Chloe Kelly coming off your bench, and they're winning games. They're doing it with a huge smile. You can tell they have like a reverence for the role that they're playing. Like, of course, both those players want to start, I'm sure, and they're making really strong cases as for why they should start. But it was probably more impactful them coming off the bench than, you know, potentially them starting. So you have that like star power when you're that other team looking, and like you have these two coming off the bench and all their confidence, fresh. They're going to run you to death. They have like all the vibes. They got all the positive clicks from the game before. I just think that was like so important. It's almost like their kind of like joker card. And so I thought that their bench was just like a huge additive for them. It's like almost like this whole other side team that's really difficult to combat if you're the other team. Vibes bench. The next thing, a gay captain. I mean, need I say more? I've said it in the past. I'll say it again. No further explanation required. Tales all his time. Where do you think the resident power straight, Chloe Kelly, gets all that power? It's not from the hopping, everybody. It's not from the hopping. And then you need a player. You need someone.
An anchor.
Lucy fucking Bronze. I'm just going to leave a little space there. Playing on a broken leg, which is wild. Can't even imagine the pain tolerance. Tibia, maybe it's not a weight-bearing bone, but like, you know, someone was kicking that thing. Unbelievable.
And for those that don't know, big misconception is that soccer players actually wear shin guards their whole lives. As a little kid, your shin guard is what? From your ankle to your knee. When like they get older, the size of AirPods. It's when we first started dating, I was like, wait, this is the shin guard? What?
Yeah, that's it.
Looks like,
protecting absolutely nothing. All it is like following this rule. Lucy Bronze was huge during the tournament. I mean, obviously, literally ripping them from the jaws of defeat against Sweden, scoring that goal. Just being the heart of the team. She never stopped running. She never stopped playing. She put in huge games. And I just feel like it was one of those things where all of her teammates were like, well, if Lucy's still running, which she is, I have to keep running too. And she just became like this heartbeat of the team. I mean, I've played against Lucy. It was a nightmare every time. She's very fast and physical and very good. I hated it. You talked to Kayla Thornton on Bird's Eye View about being in the jello. That was me playing against Lucy. I was like, I don't want it. I don't want it. But Lucy was just honestly amazing. And for a player getting a little bit later into her career, I don't know how long she'll continue to play for, but another Euro feather in her cap was wild. And then just as a little cherry on top, Serena Vegman. 3-time consecutive Euro winner, twice with England, obviously, once with the Netherlands. Just to have a coach who knows exactly who she is and knows exactly what she wants to do and like is willing to fall on the sword if she needs to, but seemingly like making all the right moves. I was just like, amazing. So in recap, you got to have the vibes. You got to have the bench. You got to have a player. You got to have someone gay. Multiple people that are gay. To make sure the power straights know what's up. And then you got to have a good coach. And that, folks, is how England brought it home for the second time.
my god.
My name is Alex Morgan.